So I'm talking to Kojo Yankson, the host of the Super Morning Show on Joy FM, The Morning Man. One of my friends wanted to know why you call yourself The Morning Man.
Well, I think the name represents what I do best. My job is to make people's mornings as good as they could possibly be. I am most alive in the mornings. So I think The Morning Man, there can't be a better name for me and what I do.
Now let's talk about the book, Messages from the Morning Man. Is this your very first book?
It is. It's my first attempt at being an author.
So what do you think?
Well, I think it's good, but actually I'm glad I don't have to rely on my own opinion on this. The reason why this book came about is because we had an amazing response to the messages, which I write every night. I write one message a night. So I ended up writing this book without realizing I was writing a book. Every night I write one message, we present it, and it gets amazing feedback. People feel very touched and affected by them. And I suppose it's because each story is a personal story. It's something that I have experienced, or something that I have learned, or something that I've been told. So there is always a little bit of me in them, which means that since I am human, chances are that everyone will find a little bit of them in these stories as well, which is what accounts for the great response that the messages were having. So at some point we felt it was important for people to have them in one place. Going through your year, there are likely to be times when you need a bit of inspiration. It'll be nice to have a little blueprint, a little manual in your bag that you can refer to every time, and you pick yourself up and do better.
Okay, so I listen to you sometimes, and sometimes I feel you. I don't know if you know what I mean. What you're saying is like either encouraging me, is telling me, go on and do what you're doing, or if you failed or you're failing, you've got another chance. I mean, there's something inspiring about the messages. But do you actually, and again, somebody wanted me to ask you, do you actually sit down to think and write some of these things?
You have no idea. In fact, I think perhaps one day I'll invite you and a camera to my house in the evening to see how these messages are created. I don't think there's been a night when it's taken me less than 3 hours to come up with one of these. And each one is an original story, an original message. It didn't exist before I thought of it and put it together. So I sit in my sofa for 3 hours looking at the ceiling, trying to figure out what to say in the morning.
Do you have like some water or some popcorn or something by you, or you're watching TV? What are you usually doing?
This is about 10 p.m. So most of the time I start off with nothing around me. And then if I start to struggle a bit, it's 11:30 and still nothing is coming up, I might get up, turn on the TV, walk around, go to the kitchen, get some jelly. I love jelly. I found some sugar-free jelly, which is perfect for me. So I just bring it to the living room, sit and eat some jelly. That sometimes does the trick, Jelly is like my secret weapon. When all fails, eat jelly, you'll get inspiration. So,
amazing.
Yeah, it takes 3 hours every night, without fail, yeah.
What's the next plan after this?
Well,
would you write another book?
Well, it seems I'm already writing one. Every morning I write a new message, so there's going to be another compilation very soon. But beyond that, there are other stories that need to be told. I believe that all of us, each person has a story in them. The only difference between those who write about them and those who don't is that some of us notice what the lessons are in every encounter. Sometimes it's a very mundane activity that everybody else has been through, but when you go through it, you see what the lesson is, and so for that reason you have a story to tell. And I think that at some point during this year, my publisher and I will have to come out with that one book that has been percolating in my mind for such a long time. I don't know if I should tell you much about it, but
please do. The title maybe.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you in a sentence what it's about. It's about the day I died.
Like seriously? As in, what do you mean?
You'll just have to wait and buy the book.
But you're not dead, you're alive, so is that supposed to be representing something?
We take inspiration from that, right? But yeah, all will be revealed when the book is released.
When?
Well, we're working on setting a timetable now. We have a big year ahead of us. We've got the Sugar Project, lots of other things happening. So we're going to have to crowbar this in there somehow, somewhere.
I'm just thinking that the day you died will be related to the sugar project? Something of, like your personal story?
There is a link. There is a link. Yes, yes. But the way this book, the way we're structuring this book, is going to be so much more about just that day. It's going to be about everything that led to that day, from when I was 4 years old, from my first memories. I'm going to pick certain specific individual experiences which led one after another to this moment. And the beauty of it is that every person who reads this will realize that you also have a timetable like that in your life. You may not have thought about it, but there is a series of key incidents that happened. And reading about mine will help people to identify theirs. And when you have that final aha moment, that is the inspirational moment that this book is building you up to. I believe it'll make a big difference to all those who get the chance to read.
So what is your favorite morning message so far?
Well, in this book I have a few favorites, okay? There's one, the butterfly murder. That one was really powerful, and it got such a huge response. I mean, we put that story up on Facebook, and it got something like 1,100 comments, almost 100 shares. All kinds of craziness on that one story. And then we had my personal favorite, the one I enjoyed writing the most, is called You're Invisible. Now, I enjoyed writing that one the most because it happened to be about the way I felt that day. Okay, if I can think of one story that took the least time to write, it was that one.
That day when you almost died?
No. You're Invisible. The way I felt the day I wrote this one. Yeah. So that particular day, I had gone through certain things that had made me feel, well, a little bit less positive and self-confident than I should. And I saw the lesson in that. So that night when I sat down to write, this thing poured out of me. I enjoyed writing it so much more than I enjoyed writing many of the other stories that I've done. Yeah.
Okay, so until we read your next book, thank you for talking to us.
Mama V, thank you for having me.